You may ask yourself, why is the grant consultant handing out documents before court? Come on. Because the consultant was and still is a part of our very close-knit team. We have been joined at the hip since December 2008 when we hired Beck Disaster Recovery to assist us with a multitude of disaster projects. And let me put this in perspective. We hired Beck, probably the best known and most respected disaster recovery company in the nation, just 2.5 months after Ike struck. And you may remember water and electricity was just barely being restored. Ferry service was just restored shortly before, around Thanksgiving. We had not yet recovered the final drowning victim on Goat Island at that point. So with a disaster the size of Ike, you need a highly experienced consultant that can take over complex administrative steps, including talking to title companies, appraisal firms, and making recommendations to the court. These tasks were delegated to Beck Disaster under their December 2008 contract to perform program management and grant administration services. And as Thad can attest with Beck Disaster, this has been common process with buyout programs across the state. It's also been common practice in Galveston County. I might add that our consultant on the housing side, ACS, procured the title company for the $99 million housing program in basically the same fashion. And to me, that just shows the diligence and the good strategy on the part of these companies to prepare and do a lot of the administrative legwork on our behalf. They are a professional firm that we've hired to assist us in a disaster situation. And let me point out as well that the granting agencies for this buyout program, the Texas Division of Emergency Management and FEMA Region 6, have been very, very satisfied with the pace of this buyout program. It is the largest buyout program in the history of Region 6, and it has been about as flawless as you can get it. They've been very satisfied with the pace of the project, and we're happy to be moving forward and finally giving some resolution to the hundreds of homeowners that will be receiving the bulk of these funds. Commissioner Clark also mentioned last week about a July 14th, 2010 meeting at which he asked me about the process for procuring the title company. I responded in court that day, as I just explained earlier today, that we hired Beck Disaster to assist us with the process, and that's exactly what they did. In fact, we've been so pleased with the job Beck is doing that we signed a task order with them just a few weeks ago on September 22nd to continue the process of assisting us with disaster recovery. Unfortunately, Commissioner Clark did not attend that meeting either. My point is there have been 14 Commissioners Court meetings since that July 14th meeting when this was brought up, offering ample opportunity for anyone on the court to approach me or the judge or the clerk or whoever and request that we revisit or workshop or take a look at these issues. And that hasn't happened until last week. Thad, you want to say anything about how these projects usually go together?
Gentlemen, as you know, or you may not know, this buyout is by far the largest in the history of the buyout program. Beck was hired to administer the grant, and when I came in, I needed to put together the best team for that job. Where other buyouts might be a couple dozen or 100 homes, this is up to 1,200. Where other buyouts might be a trip to the moon, this is a trip to Jupiter, and I chose, it's my decision, I chose the best team, which includes not only title agency, but appraisal firm, engineers we've worked with, Jeff Ward and Associates. Through the title process, Jeff Ward was primarily responsible for talking to the title agencies, and I should say that Jeff is our subject matter expert and has handled over 80% of the buyouts in Texas. His experience with Southland Title dating far back, and I should actually say that his experience with a certain manager from Southland Title who previously worked for a different title agency is why we ultimately went with that company. His manager is adept at buyouts and has handled well over, I will say, thousands of buyouts in the state of Texas. When the recommendation was made to me that we use Southland Title, I had a conversation with this individual from his League City office, and she was so intelligent and knew what she was talking about, I misidentified her in my recommendation as the actual owner of Southland Title. I did not know who the owner was. I didn't know Pat Doyle from Pat Boone. I made the recommendation based on running the largest buyout project in history, and I think the proof is in the pudding. It's going smoothly, and actually at this point to try to switch title companies would raise a red flag with the state. We did our due diligence. We made our internal memo to the state. The state continuously audits our process and continuously approves our payments, which is proof that they are pleased with our performance. So that being said, that's how it went down. Any questions?
I guess, being that the topic was brought up again today, is that I would like any and all correspondence from Jeff Ward, your subconsultant, to any of the additional title companies that you all contacted prior to the March 18th meeting.
What other title companies did you consider of that, if I may ask?
Land America and Stewart Title, and as our internal memo that we filed to the file states, that Stewart Title is a capable title company. They're a large title company. It's just Southland Title has the experience, which is a big concern with the size of this buyout, and that's why we went with them. And some of the contacts were verbal. I know that Jeff had multiple conversations with Mr. Norris from Stewart Title. I had one conversation with Mr. Norris from Stewart Title. Land America Title, I believe, was an email quote. I'll have to go back. You got to remember, at this point, we had 2 months to put this application together. So a lot of it was done over the phone and through email, and I'll definitely see what I can find on that process.
Yeah, I heard you mention that you considered experience when choosing Southland. I mean, what about pricing? Did you consider any pricing? Did you see who had the best price? Did y'all consider that at all?
The settlement fee was the only real pricing that we can consider, because as if you're a lawyer, you know that the title insurance fee is set by the state. That wouldn't be different regardless of who the title company was. So we compared what was generally called the settlement fee, and Southland Title was low bidder.
Okay. My other question for you, Thad, is in regards to any audits or inspections. I think you touched on it in your statement earlier, but who audits you? Who inspects you? I mean, what do they, and how often do they come, and what do they check?
Well, the county is the sub-applicant to the state. The state is the applicant to FEMA. So the way that it happens is the state continuously audits us through the process of what's called request for reimbursements. As we make reimbursement requests, they're very in-depth, and they include everything from the acquisition money to buy the properties, to demo costs, to appraisals, that kind of thing. So as we submit requests for reimbursement, they audit those requests, and if by approving and then paying, it shows that they've audited. At the end of the process, I'm sure the state will have another large audit, and then once that's done, within 4 years, you can expect, because of the size of this, I can guarantee there will be FEMA. Well, the federal government through OIG will audit the whole process.